This is INCRadio, DCEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesianicristo. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Sunny Side Up Family Talks. I'm one of your hosts, Brother Robert Tabalas, coming to you here live from Tampa, Florida. I could actually say it's a pretty sunny day here in Tampa because we've been dealing with cloudy, somewhat rainy, and sub-freezing temperatures for these last couple of weeks here. Very un-Florida-like, but we're super excited and hoping that this, not only the weather is going to warm you up, but this conversation today is going to warm you up as well. But before we do that, we're going to toss it over to one of my lovely hosts there in the center part of Florida, whose sheer name evokes an emotion. Hello, sister.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. Yes, indeed, I am an emotion. My name is an emotion, y'all. So thank you all for tuning in to Sunny Side Up Family Talks. We are really excited. And I'm not just excited because my name is Joy and I'm full of joy. We're really excited because we have a really, really interesting topic today. Something that's very heartfelt to all of us. But before we do, and we want to know wherever you are, because we know that we have a worldwide audience. Let us know where you are tuning in from. So no matter the placement of the sun, it's always a sunny side up here, right, with us. So we're so glad that you're with us. Let us know on the YouTube channel where you are tuning in from, because we want to know and we want to say hello. And before we do, we're going to kind of fly back over to the west side of Florida to get our international greetings. So take it away, Sister Liza.
Bonjour, mes sœurs, mes frères et sœurs, je m'appelle Liza. Merci. Merci d'avoir regardé Sunny Side Up. Good morning to everyone, Paul, and happy viewing Sunny Side Up. Please stay tuned as we dive in deeper in this episode and let us hear, of course, from our teenagers. Brother Robert.
Okay, wait a minute. That came out of you like you just flew back from Paris. And I know that that's not where you were for the last week or so.
Good morning, Daisa.
Oh my goodness!
I love it.
I'm gonna have to brush up on. Are we sure that we weren't doing dubbing, audio dubbing there? Was somebody voice overing that?
I just learned it last night, Paul.
That was pretty flawless there, Sister Liza. Great job. All right. So if we have any of our French audiences joining us this morning,
yes.
Then we welcome you to the show. Today I'm really excited. We're going to be introducing our panel because last week's episode got so many views, so many comments, and it was an overwhelming response to the reaction of having a teen and what it is that parents really need to know. But, of course, parents don't always know everything. So we had to bring our teenagers to actually come and join us to kind of give us their perspective. So last week it was about the parents. This week we have a beautiful crew, or a wonderful panel of teens from here in the District of Florida Caribbean that are going to be joining us to talk about their side of the experience, about what it's like being a teen to a parent of a teen. Because as we know, that's a little bit of a challenge from when we thought we knew exactly how to raise them, and then all of a sudden they became teenagers. So before we do that, if I could, I'm going to have them each introduce themselves, and if they could tell us their name, where they're from, and how old they are. All right, we'll start with Brother RJ, a familiar face here on Sunny Side Up.
Good morning to all viewers, and also to our wonderful hosts here once again, and to my fellow teenagers here that are also among the panel. I'm Brother RJ Clemente from the locale of Orlando, Florida, and I am 16 years old, turning 17 very, very soon.
Very good. Almost an adult. You're like just on the cusp there, Brother RJ. You're almost
one more year, so close.
All right, we're gonna stay there in Orlando, and we're gonna have Brother Jacob introduce himself. Brother Jacob.
Hi, I'm Brother Jacob. I'm a freshman. I'm 14 years old. I also live in the locale of Orlando. My mom is also Sister Joy. I'm the local vice president of my locale, and I'm also part of the Social Development Services Committee in the district level too. And same with Brother RJ. He's kind of like my boss. Yeah.
Oh, we're going to ask what kind of a boss he is later, Brother Jay. I want to know. Inquiring minds want to know. But thank you very much. Let's hop back over here to the West Coast, and let's start with Sister Casey.
Hello po, good evening, good morning, wherever you may be viewing from. I'm Sister Casey from the local of Tampa. I am 15 years old. Thank you for having me today.
Awesome. Thank you for joining. And then last, but of course not least, Sister Zyril here in Tampa as well.
Hi po, good morning, good evening, wherever the sun may be where you're at. I'm Sister Zyril. I'm from Tampa and I'm 14 years old. Thank you so much for having me here today.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Sister Zyril. If Kuyata could please put us in grid mode, we're going to be peppering our panel with questions that a lot of parents had sent in, actually wanting to know, like, how could we be better parents? I mean, that's kind of the whole point of this, right, Sister Joy?
Absolutely.
we want to know, how is it that we could be better parents to our teen kids, because it comes from experience. And we're going to start our round robin of questions with Sister Liza. I think we have a couple of burning questions that came from a couple of our audience members that you have for them.
Yes, for our teenagers, what do you think that adults don't understand about being a teenager today?
We'll start with the top left, Sister Zyril.
Yes, Sister Zyril.
Okay, so what I think gets overlooked often, or what doesn't get noticed as often is, sure, teens go through like hardships and like external struggles a lot, but I think in this stage where we feel more and like we're way more sentimental, and like I think it's like the internal conflicts that get overlooked because it's not like seen and it's harder to notice. And I think as parents, we need to look out for that, notice the red flags quickly, and like really make your teen feel seen when those things happen, because a lot of our emotions and our choices are like emotion driven, and like it makes it harder for us to like be more logical and like make good decisions, and like
Because
so when you say being seen, right? I mean, I hear that a lot, and it's a phrase that I don't know about you, Sister Joy, and I know Sister Liza. Obviously, you're younger than I am, far younger than I am, but that term about being seen is something to me that's relatively new. So to you guys as teenagers, like, what does it mean to be seen? So maybe I'll ask that of Sister Casey.
I think that being seen really means to be noticing the small things that your teens may not say out loud, like reading body languages, or the way that your teenager might be acting, or the way that they react to things. It's noticing things and being very aware of the way that your teenager is.
I love that. I think you guys hearing this from you guys, it's one thing, like as a parent to again, there was no manual, y'all, to raise you guys, and to hear this from you is deep. It's like we know it, but we don't know it. So to hear this is such a confirmation and such a lovely reminder, like, yes, I do see you. And I think as parents, we don't mean to not see you. So this again, for parents, come on, let's do this. Let's just pause and pay attention, because I love how you said, yes, there are external things, Zyril, you said that, right? But internally, there's a lot of things going on, right? Like that stuff is real. You're having conversations with yourself in your head, right? Like, okay, should I do this? Should I not do this? So that's real. Thank you guys for sharing that. That's powerful, and it's very valuable. Very, very much so.
I don't have a teenager yet, but I'm flashing back myself when I was teenagers. Now I could relate to them, because I see myself the way they say it.
Yeah,
flashing back.
it
Yeah.
does. It's really
Yeah.
coming back. I think that's so important. And while we're on that, like, what is an example of something that like that? Can we ask? Let's get from the guys now.
Mhm.
So like, what's going on in your head? Let's go to Jacob. I'm gonna pick on you. Like, what's one of those examples that are like one of those internal conversations that's going on?
Like when talking with your parents, right?
Oh yeah, when
Or like
talking with
bringing up something.
bringing up something, but like when you feel like that adults, I mean, not
Mhm.
just parents, but adults just don't understand.
I feel like one thing they don't really understand is FOMO, or fear of being left out. Where like either you get, maybe let's say there's a party going on with one of your friends or some kind of event, you either get invited but you can't go, or you don't get invited and you can't go at all. I feel like there's a difference between those two feelings. And since they're teenagers, are still mentally and emotionally developing, like what our sister Zyro said earlier. I feel like that for the feeling where we're invited but we can't go, we're like, oh, okay, I guess I can't make it. Can go another day or something, hang out with them later. But on the other hand, not if not invited can't go, like, oh man, maybe they don't like me anymore. Maybe they don't want to be friends anymore. Maybe they don't want to see me anymore.
Oh, so those are things that are real conversations that are going on
Mhm.
in your head that as parents, we're like, oh, okay, we just can't make it, right? And then
Mhm.
good to know. Good. That is that an example of one of the things that are going on internally?
Yes, well, it's the overthinking.
Okay.
I was literally going to just ask that question. I mean, do you guys ever come to the realization that maybe you're overthinking something that happens? Like if, for example, I mean, Brother Jacob's example, right? So there's a gathering, right? Doesn't have to be a party, but it can be like going out to the mall or going to the movies or doing something with a certain group, and then you are friends individually, maybe with those people, but then they don't invite you. Do you tend to like then all of a sudden spiral into this thing about, well, they don't like me, I'm not in that friend group anymore, did I do something that might have really offended somebody? Do you guys catch yourselves doing that where you overthink things too much?
Really, really. I'm trying to see all of you, and I didn't hear anything, but I can see just by looking at it.
Yes.
It's real. It's real.
Yeah. Well, I mean, brother RJ, I mean, I noticed kind of almost a visceral reaction when I brought that up about like overthinking, like what's really going on back there. Is that like, have you found yourself in that situation where, and then later on you were like, it was nothing?
Oh, 100%. I think a lot of teens overthink nowadays, especially in today's society where things are seen different than maybe 20, 30 years ago. But also, it all comes back to mental health. Like I think also that's another thing that kind of parents don't really see is the mental health of their kids. It's similar to what Zyro and Casey said, the internal factors that the team may be going through because they're experiencing so many things that they're seeing outside the home, outside with their family, that may affect them as they continue on and going as a teen, going out through their life, such as depression, that could be caused by many different things, of course, going through losing someone you love, maybe even overthinking, like what was mentioned by Yuka Robert and also by Sister Zyro. Overthinking is one of the biggest things I'd say for teens, and especially with mental health, depression. It's definitely one of the biggest factors now in today's world society for teens.
Okay, good. I mean, I think that's something that a lot of us parents assumed we knew, right? When we're assuming that we know how our kids feel versus how you guys really feel.
And it's always like the things we look seem like on the outside, like maybe when we're talking to our parents, right? On the outside, we're super happy, we're joyful, smiles on our face all the time, but sometimes that smile can be also fake. Internally, we'll be feeling super sad, super left out, super clouded in our minds, that it, even though we want to maybe cry or be sad, really sad on the outside, we keep smiling just so that not only we can be happy towards other people we love, so such as our family, but also so that it doesn't all the more affect anyone else.
Do you guys feel like when your parents just do like a random check-in with you and say like, hey, how are you feeling? You know, what's going on? Because as a parent, I might walk into a room and maybe I might see my son or my daughter maybe not happy, right? Or walking around the house, maybe not happy. My tendency would be to ask like, hey, is everything okay? What's going on? What would be your like response if your parents like you're going through something right now, right? You're going through something, and then your parents just kind of out of the blue just walked up to you and say, hey, is everything okay? What would be like your immediate response to it typically, and why? Casey, I'll ask that of you.
I think depending on the situation, it can come off as kind of harsh in a way. I think internally, teenagers, they want to talk to their parents. They want to be open. They want to be able to talk to their parents about whatever's bothering them. But I think it's the fear of being vulnerable to their parents and not knowing what they're going to react or what they're going to say. And I think that fear comes from you maybe saying the wrong thing and potentially ruining a relationship with your parents. And I think that's what a lot of teens are scared of when maybe a parent asks them what's going on. Like they don't want to disappoint their parents.
Mm-hmm. Is that like a precursor to like, do you guys think that before you even respond to your parents, if they ask you questions like that? Like if you know, Zyro, if Brother Rico, Sister Grace just walked into you and just like, and I guess it depends. The caveat is it depends on the relationship, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because I think we all know some kids have different relationships in communication with their parents than maybe other kids, and a lot of it is just based on how they were, you know, their upbringing. But like, so I just wanted like examples from each of you guys. So, if Carico or Grace comes to you and just says like, and you're kind of going through stuff, is when they ask you, hey, what's going on? Are you okay? Is it when they specifically just ask that you want to just answer, yeah, everything's fine? Or do you feel like you could be vulnerable? And if so, what part of their asking you, or how did they ask you to make you want to open up?
Yeah, usually I would just like sometimes I wouldn't be in the mood to like open up, so I would just brush it off with, yeah, I'm okay. And I think part of that, like the reason is that I agree what Sister Casey said about the fear of being vulnerable, because I always thought like emotion was like weakness, and like I didn't want my parents to see that side of me. So I guess it was like harder for me to open up, you know, and I think that something like teens could agree on, because like we want to be seen as strong. We want to have that like thing about us, and it's just like when talking about our feelings, it's uncomfortable because it's not something we're used to, and it actually makes us feel like stronger when we open up instead of feeling like vulnerable, like what Sister Casey said. And whenever those times do come up, like where I actually do open up, it's like even though I'm pouring my heart out, I'm still like being careful what I say, because like sometimes I feel like my emotions are like invalid compared to what others go through. And I guess it's just that feeling of feeling like a crybaby, you know, and it just makes it harder to open up more.
Well, as parents, right? Like Sister Liza, you have obviously young kids, right? So when you're talking with Noah's the youngest one, right? But Naomi is a little older. what is it that you do to try to get her, because you're getting her at this age, right?
Mhm.
She's at that young, vulnerable age where you could begin shaping what that future relationship could be like. What are some of the things that you're trying to do to kind of already start fostering more of this open communication at that age?
Um, Whenever they feel something, especially Naomi po, I I learned that there's one incident that happened. I think that was when Brother Edo and Naomi were driving home. So they went from jiu-jitsu. So Naomi was like, because he didn't see Brother Edu for a very long time because, work po. So he's keeps saying, Papa, can we go to the park? Can we go to the park? So it's been 3 times that she keeps telling that. And Brother Edu was like saying, no, no, no. And then when they get home, I heard them like they were like fighting. Like, I told you a lot of times we cannot go, blah, blah, blah. So they said, I said, yeah, okay, okay, it's okay. Then Naomi said that, but and then when I was giving her a bath, she broke down and cried. She cried out, and then she said, because I asked her, oh, why Papa get mad? Because I didn't listen. Well, it's him that he didn't listen. But I said, why? Because I told him I want to go to the park, but he said no. I said, why do you want to go to the park? I just want to be with him because I didn't see him for a very long time. And that's the made me realize that what if we listen first to our children before we get mad or before we put
Yeah.
our emotions,
Mhm.
because I think that's the reason why the children has the fear of opening up their emotions, their feelings to the parents, because they're thinking that my parents will get mad, you will never understand, or something like that. I
Mhm.
think I get to the point that I have to listen first to her before I react. I know initially on my head, I have a reaction already, like I am mad, but I'm trying not to show it right away so she can say something or she can open up. In that way, you are on the same page.
You know what? And I think that's a perfect example,
It
because
Mhm.
at that age, especially, they're super honest, right?
Yes,
They can be
yes,
super honest. And I mean, I'll tell you right now, it breaks your heart when you hear those,
yes.
because that's an expression of love, right? She just wanted to spend time with him. But as a parent, what we saw is, look, I know you want to go play,
But he's
and
tired all the
but
time.
not realizing that it's not, I want to
Yes.
go play, it's, I want time with you because I miss you, because I want to spend time with you. And
Mhm.
sometimes we have, as parents, a really bad habit of interrupting when our kids are trying to talk, right? So, like, immediately we already have the answers. So we're gonna, at the minute you start to talk about a problem or something, we're gonna already maybe cut you off, and you don't even get to be able to finish your thought, to be able to express yourself. Have you guys? And I'll ask this of Brother RJ first. Have you guys ever tried, like, when you get into that mode of trying to tell something to your parents, but then they jumped in already, like they've already started responding before you even got to finish? Have you ever like asked them, can you let me finish first? Have you ever tried doing
Definitely.
that?
And I oftentimes when that happens too, it's like it makes me more kind of closed in to be able to
Mhm.
ask more of those kind of questions, because if I do continue asking, I'm just going to know it's going to be might be just the exact same response, no, or be getting mad at me as well. So that's oftentimes like when I want to ask, like, hey, can I go out with my friends today? um Sometimes I don't even ask that because I already know what the answer is.
It's like you're assuming that they're already gonna say no, because you're
Exactly.
maybe like scared that they get angry out of nowhere, or they just like assume you're trying to do something else or something.
Or is that usually, though, because of past experiences where they've said no, or is it already kind of this, back to that thing we said earlier about your overthinking already
I think
about what
it's a
they're gonna
mix of both, definitely, because it's also like what we like mentioned at the beginning of the show, right? That early parent-child relationship. um if they have a really good parent-child relationship,
Yeah.
they'll be able to really know if it's good to say, ask this, but if it's not maybe as strong, that's where teens may start to feel like, oh, they already know the answer to this, or they start overthinking, like, if I say this thing's going to happen, and then it's going to lead to this thing, and then to that thing, and then it's just going to keep spiraling all over again. And then it's just a whole process to where they don't feel like it's even worth it to ask those kind of questions, ask those kind of topics to their parents.
These are really good to hear from you guys, and to understand what shuts you down, because as parents, we don't mean to. I mean, as all of you are sharing that, I feel like I want to go out into the screen and hug you each and like, no, that's not what we meant. And I'm saying that on behalf of all the parents that are listening. We really don't mean to shut you down. We want to hear you. We want to know what is going on. We want to help you. So with that, now that we understand, okay, so this could possibly shut you down and feel guarded. Where is it that you feel that as a parent, like for us, if you could speak to all the parents, where is it that you want more guidance? What would be most helpful to you during when you're going through those internal conversations and overthinking, and it's getting muddy. It's getting a little muddy. If you could speak to a parent, how could we help you during those times?
I mean, like just what we've been really talking about, and I guess in the show, really just listen to the child, listen to the teenager, because there's so many things in our mind that can really influence us to really think certain things, or cause us to not even want to talk to our parents. So even listening to them when we do open up, when we do be vulnerable to them, is, I'd say, really, really important, because then that all the more strengthen not only the relationship with the parent, but also allow the teen to feel more safe, feel more open with talking about those difficult things, talking about the things we don't want to talk about.
It's like if the more they say no to our requests, or when we ask them, it's like as those no's and those denials of requests build up, it's like we can already assume that, okay, so if I ask them this, they're just going to say no again, or no, it's not worth asking them because I can already sense or feel what they might say.
But do you feel like when they say no, that you understand why they're saying no? Because I know, like, I guess the preconceived notion is that my parents will just say no because they just never want me to have any fun, or they just say no because that's just no. They want to be controlling. Do you feel that it would be different if you had better context around the reason why they would say no?
Yes, I feel like that'd also be good, especially if you're trying to just tell your maybe mom or dad something, and out of nowhere they just snap, and then they start getting angry or yelling or maybe screaming at you.
Lecturing and
yeah.
And then also too,
Joy, her name is Joy, so she would never. She's just full of joy.
I am.
But
I think so that okay, as a parent po, I think that sometimes, or maybe one of the wall that's hindering the communication po, I think it's the perspective po. You are talking in the perspective of you as a child, but as parents, we are talking as a perspective of a parents. This is what I always tell my teenager brother and my sister po, that you will never understand your parent until you become one. Because I hear them saying that why I cannot do this, why I cannot do that. Well, I've been there because I've been a teenager. And then that's the time that I say, I don't understand my parents too, or they cannot understand me too. So both ways you don't understand each other, because the communication, like we said, the child and parent relationship have a big factor on how we open up to our parents. And we're saying or talking into a different perspective, but you as a children and as a parent.
I think that that's a good perspective, because it's hard to imagine, and the point's taken that, you don't know what you don't know, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
when you're 15, 14, 16, going on 17, I just love saying it that way because it sounds like,
Sounds like
but
a song.
you don't really understand the perspective or the struggles, or, I mean, to be honest, the fear that we have as parents.
Yes.
We are so afraid for you guys
Yes.
with all of the stuff that happens in this world, because we've lived through it, right? We've gone through this, and a parent's job is to not want their children to have to go through the same pain that they did.
Yes, that we've been
That's,
through.
that's our number one priority. Now, we
Yes.
may not express it the right way sometimes, but it doesn't change the fact that, when we're trying to protect you, and granted, I've always said this before, as parents, I'm speaking to the parents out there,
Mhm.
that even though that's what we want to do, we want to protect our children, because that's inherently our life's goal. But as parents also, we have to understand that at some point, our children have to learn how to be able to be adults. They need to be able to learn how to make mistakes and recover from them, because that's how you build resilience in your
Yes.
life.
Yes.
So there's a balance, and we need you guys, you
Yeah.
teenagers, to help us, right? I mean, you're the most precious thing in the world to us. And so the decisions that you're going to hear, sometimes the no's that you hear, sometimes the what comes across as harshness is really just
Action.
fear in us manifests itself.
And I think as well, like once we start to get older, of course, like I'm reaching 17. Next thing I know, I'm going to be 18. I might be leaving the house soon. I don't know. But
Behalf of your mom.
but I think once we get older, because I start to also see that too, that there's the reason why our parents, they say no. They always and when you explain it now, I start to see even more. When you guys, the parents, they also went through that in the past, but all they do is just they want to care for us. That's really what the parents all want, even though it may not be expressed in the right way. Sometimes it's just something us teens we just have to go through. But eventually just have to understand them, because we have to see it from both perspectives. Not only our perspective, that we want to do this certain thing, we want to express this certain thing, but also coming from the parents' point of view, where all they do is care, because they also know that they have maybe been through the same thing as well. And that's something now that I'm older, that I'd never probably realized when I was my early teens, when I was like brother Jacob's age, sister Zadal's age, sister Casey's age. Something I never really took into account until now.
Sister Joy, you've got some nuggets that you want the teens to be able to share, right?
I want to hear from you guys, because it sounds like what I'm collecting is that a lot of the times when you want to share something with your parents, the conversations that are going on internally are in the moment, right? You're like, what if this? What if that? What if that? Right? And that's kind of a barrier, right? It's kind of a barrier for you to want to share. As a parent, I think, again, I'm going to say it again, we don't mean to come off that way, because as a parent, we're forward thinking. We're thinking, okay, I gotta put dinner on the table. I need to make sure I meal prep for the next day. I need to get my stuff ready for work so that I can, provide for my family. So we're thinking about those things, and it's all because we all love you. We love you deeply, and we want to provide. We want the best for you guys. And I know I can speak that way for all of your parents. And we don't mean to brush you off or anything like that. But during those moments, this is a heed for all of you, for all of our teenagers. Have a conversation with your parents that when you need to speak to them, when you want to be vulnerable, have like some kind of key word or something like, Mom, Dad, I really need to talk to you. And it's not going to be empathy. You know, like if there's something, because we kind of sometimes need that as parents, like just shake us up a little bit and say, wait, I really need you. It might not seem like it's at whatever's, because I know as a child, you're going to go, okay, my mom looks really busy right now. My dad seems really busy. Maybe it's not a good time. We want to make time. It's important to us. What's important to you is also important to us. So have a conversation, right? Have just anything, and just say, okay, mom, dad, I really need to get this off my chest. I really want to talk to you about this. And most of all, guys, it's okay to remind your parents to pray and ask. It's okay. Okay. We want to hear it from you guys too, because sometimes when we hear it from you guys, we're like, okay, right? It's like right here, and you feel, and you're like, can we pray together? Maybe that's what it should be like. Pray together.
And I think another thing to add on to that, that's why the church has implemented the family hour, being able to, for the whole family to express maybe what they're feeling, receive the message also coming from the church administration, but also pray together as a family, be able to ask for help from God for what we need. And also all the more whenever we're going through as teens, the struggles we're going through, whatever the parents may be going through, whatever thing that may be hindering us as a family, that's in the family hour, we can always be able to really be open, and it's all the more beneficial for all families, I'd say.
Well, and you know, it's, as always happens, this is why we need to have two shows. We are the fastest 35 minutes on radio. I can't believe how fast this conversation went as we started to get deeper. But before we wrap up, I want to be able to at least ask each of you guys to give, if you could give one piece of advice right now to a parent who's watching, who has a teenager, that could maybe help their relationship with their teen that they may be struggling with, what would that be? I'm going to start with Sister Zyril.
For me, and for like on behalf of all the teens, I feel like when we see our parents, like we see a parental figure, we see someone like higher than us, we see somebody we should like kind of like fear, but really for the parents, I feel like we're their friends, we're their best friends, we're family, like, and we're the closest friend will ever be to them, like in this earth. And I feel like if we have like a deeper connection, like a friendlier, more kind of like familiar, instead of something that's like instead of being seen as something like an authority figure, being their friend, sharing their, like, knowing their interests, knowing their little habits, and just hanging out with one another. I feel like it really strengthens the trust, because that really like it builds trust, like the quality time, all the things that like are the bonding times and stuff. And it shows the teens that we're not alone, and that's all we need. And it's really what keeps us going, especially learning with everything that's going on. It just, we have somebody who's on our side. We have all we need in them.
That's great. That's awesome. What about you, Sister Casey? What's one piece of advice you'd like parents of a teen to know?
I think something that's important is to have patience under all of the emotions and all of the things that might be going through our mind, overthinking. There's understanding underneath that. The children understand what the parents do. The children understand the sacrifices that their parents make for them. Just give us time. I think we're processing through emotions. We're processing through the things that we're exposed through in this world now. Honestly, just sit with us and be patient, because when the time comes, we will come to you. We know that you're there for us. We know just by you being by our side, we know that we have somebody by our side. And I think that's very powerful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. What about you, Brother Jacob?
I feel like instead of just straight up reacting, like what the whole point of this episode is, like they should just listen more, and especially like what I said earlier too, control their emotions more. Because lash having more backlash on your children or just raging on them is not going to fix anything, especially if they're just trying to talk to you, they're just trying to let you know about something. Just going all out on them is not going to be helpful at all. So I feel like for parents, especially for those who have teenagers, I feel like that they should especially hear out on their children more if they're trying to talk with them, especially because you know you never know who you never know what someone's going through, especially for as teenagers, since we're still growing, developing, making new friendships, connecting with others. I feel like that they should definitely just listen more instead of using their emotions on us, you know?
And that's tough too, because I think as a parent, what we don't realize is that when we have kids who are teenagers now, you're not the 5-year-old that we used to be able to tell do something and just do it, right? Because you're not old enough to rationalize or reason with us. You're not old enough to have an opinion yet. Versus when you become a teenager and you guys are smarter, right? Especially with everything that you have available to you now. I think that's where the parents tend to kind of hit a brick wall, is because all of a sudden, oh, wait a minute, I'm talking to an intelligent human being who can actually, have a conversation and reason with me. And I think it's a hard adjustment for parents to go from this role of being protector to a toddler and them never questioning it, to then when you guys are now old enough to actually have your own opinions of things, that our initial reaction is going to be that, right? So that's really good advice, Brother Jake. Is as a parent, for me, that's like the biggest thing. When my kids were old enough to actually have opinions, and we sometimes called answering back, but it's not answering back. It's just this is what it is, right?
Yes.
And sometimes parents look at that as like, don't answer me back, don't talk to me, and that just completely shuts off that conversation.
Yes, exactly.
It immediately stops the talking, because now, well, you're not hearing me anyway. So. So that's great. That's great advice, Brother Jake. What about you, Brother RJ? What's the one piece of advice that you can give to a parent of a teen?
Really build that parent-child relationship. Not only now, maybe now, even if their child is a teenager already, but even when they're young, start have really good quality time. Have a good relationship with your child, so that when they grow up, when they're a teenager, they'll feel more open to talking to their parents as well. And then even some advice for the teenagers: understand from both perspectives why certain answers are given, because we don't know. Because even though we may want something for ourselves, so we just see our perspective, but we may never see the other side, what maybe the parents are thinking, why we're wanting to do this certain thing. So really, just for the teenagers as well, see both sides of the conversation, really see both perspectives, because you never know what each side is thinking, and it could be causing motives for this answer and so
That's
on.
great. It's again, foundationally, it's about communication, right? I think that's the biggest takeaway, is that keep the conversations going, because once you stop talking, then the problems just get bigger. So I think that's, if anything, as parents, whatever we can do to just keep the conversations going with our children, that's what's going to help. Aside from having to look for tissue midway through this conversation, which I could not find, this has been one of the most enlightening conversations we've had, I think, thus far in our show. And I want to thank each of you guys for opening up, for sharing. I know it's hard, especially Brother Jacob, with your parent sitting right there reading to you.
And I'm the one full of emotion.
Just hit you in the back of the head if you say something wrong. But I want to thank you guys for opening up, and Sister, Liza and Sister Joy, of course, for sharing, of course, our parents' perspective about why things are so important. But, of course, the show is coming to an end. We're going to definitely be having a follow-up conversation with these 4 young folks who today have shown me just how mature teenagers really can be in their answers. And I am just absolutely floored at the maturity. And we want to thank you. So thank you, Sister Zyril there from Tampa, Sister Casey from Tampa, Brother Jacob from there in Orlando, Brother RJ from there in Orlando as well, for joining us today on the show. This is Brother Robert, for also Sister Joy there in Orlando, and Sister Liza here in Tampa for Sunny Side Up. Please tune in next week. We're going to have another exciting topic for you to have, and we want to thank all of you for tuning in today on Sunny Side Up Family Talks.